Hello, Playdate. This is Don.
This is Nick.
And I'm Ryan.
This week we are covering Playdate news.
Recent indie releases.
And rejoicing in the reunion with Don. Don, welcome back. It's good to have you here.
Thank you so much. Glad to be back. Thank you for listening, and let's get started.
Let's get started indeed with some respectful boopity boop news and notes to welcome Don back. We've got a bunch of them. News and notes, that is, not boops, for the first Dawn episode. First, we'd like to talk about the Terrorween Playdate bundle. There is a heap of games coming up here. We're talking Stars of the Screen, Baseball Brat, Bad Venture, say that 5 times fast, Artoween, Rocky Stairs, Life's Too Short, Realistic Fishing, Super Pongmatic 2300, Solaris Arcana, Eye of the Soothsayer. My goodness, Donathan, can you tell us how much this mountain of games is going to run you?
You get these 8 games for $26.66, and I want to clarify, it's Life's Too Short 2 Unhooked, the brand new release. But yeah, it's good October 1st through October 31st. So grab it now. And there's also a digital zine that comes with the pack.
I can only imagine that we have Zanya Lasagna to thank for the digital zine maker of the Playdate community. Nice work, Zanya. Very cool. Very cool. Nick, what are your thoughts about the Terrorween Playdate bundle?
Looks great. A lot of good games, good price, and exciting stuff.
Fantastic. Let's move on to the next bullet point with a boopity boop. Is the developer?
We're booping between notes now?
No, not all of them, just sporadically, maybe. Unless you get real grumpy.
Let's just start off real grumpy. Okay, what do we got, Ryan? Go ahead.
I don't know. We have like 1,800 news and notes to go.
We need
to
cut out the boops. We gotta go fast. Boom, boom.
No, it's the grump that needs to be cut out.
The grump and the boops.
Okay, here we go. The developer for the game Direct Drive is going to be at Adventure X Games Conference. This is happening the first week of November in London, so it's coming up. If you're a fan of Direct Drive and you're in spitting distance of London, then hey, you've got an opportunity to meet face-to-face with a Playdate dev. Thought I'd mention that, and we will have a link to that in the show notes of today's episode.
This is the biggest adventure game conference of the year, so pretty exciting.
Very cool.
You going, Nick?
I would love to, but not this year.
Would that be the coolest, man?
There are a lot of Playdate devs in England, so maybe a few will end up there.
Yeah, that'd be cool. If you end up going and you hear this, let us know.
Yeah, I think we still got one more episode before Adventure X Games Conference happens. So hey, shoot us a line in the next couple of weeks. We'll include you in the next news and notes. So coming up next, we have Shadowgate PD. Wait a minute. Maybe I should hold off on that one because I think it was a part of
chamber that
the next news and note. Okay.
Okay.
The next news and note is that Tiny Yellow Machine put together another bang up community direct for Playdate, which aired on October 5th. Just a mere 5 days ago at this point. So we have all kinds of highlights to talk about, one of which was Shadowgate PD for the Playdate. It's a port of Shadowgate by Zojoy, and it's now in development by Pixel Ghost, planned for a 2024 launch. But there's about a bazillion other games they showed. In fact, I think there was maybe 40 games, if I'm remembering correctly. But I watched the direct, took some notes during it, and I'm going to try to highlight some of them that I thought were particularly noteworthy. Don and Nick, I know we have a lot to go over here, so please just stop me at any point when you're like, hey, I thought that was neat too, or actually, I did not think that was so neat.
Ryan, I think Shadowgate PD is really neat. Shadowgate's one of my favorite adventure games. And
really?
Yeah, I'm very excited that there's going to be a Playdate port of it. I think it'll work very well. The original Shadowgate was released for the original Macintosh. So it was one of the Mac Venture series of games. So originally black and white, and this is really cool and great news. Pixel Ghost is doing the port. I think that's really exciting. So I can't wait to see how this develops. But the YouTube little teaser trailer has me very, very interested.
Fantastic. Yeah. I think I had that out of order because I saw Pixel Ghost's announcement of it before I watched the direct. And so anyway, nobody cares. Next highlight in the community direct, at least for me, was the very first one coming out strong with a game called Night Raider. This looked like a silky
Midnight
smooth...
Raider.
What? Really?
Midnight Raider, yes.
Man, it was
Night Raider's
midnight when I was
sequel.
watching this stuff. I guess I should have been more awake. Anyway, all right. So whatever Don said, silky smooth fighting game with some crank integration, but looks like mainly a platformer that's just, oh, goodness, just dripping with incredible graphics, quick, speedy movements. I don't know how they're getting the Playdate to perform so gosh darn well. Looked amazing. You guys must have seen this. It was the first one. Tell me you saw it.
Yeah, it looked awesome. I love the style. Yeah, the animation looked fantastic. I am curious to see what the gameplay is like, and part of me wondered if it was like a port from something else because it says coming to Playdate. I did not dig in deeper, but maybe, I don't know, maybe it's just on Playdate. Very cool though.
Yeah, very cool. Next game is called Empire. That's the next one that caught my eye anyway. It's a strategic war game where you select your kingdom, your taxation, how much to feed your subjects. It looked really polished, and it said it was releasing in 2023. What? So like very soon? I mean, here we are in mid-October. There's not much of 2023 left. So I guess keep an eye out. That was exciting. What do you guys think about that one?
Yeah, Empire looked cool. It looked very complex. Like people put these really complex games on the Playdate, and I don't know how they do it, but they are very clever in the way they can make everything work with the limited buttons and crank and whatnot. And I love how legible Empire looked. So
yeah,
this isn't a Dawn type of game, but it made me kind of want to give it a shot if there's a demo or something. It might get its hooks into me. I don't know, but yeah, very cool.
Yeah.
I can't see who the dev is offhand, but yeah.
All right, I'll let you look for that while I talk about the next one, because you mentioned how legible Empire was. Well, speaking of very readable graphics, the next one that caught my eye was Dolphin Show. Very rudimentary graphics, but super, super smooth animation and super easy to see. Looks like it's a crank-only game. It was one of the shortest previews on the Direct, also coming in late 2023, so coming out real soon, but a really inventive trailer. It's like it was an in-game trailer, but in-game they had info for what the game was, when it was coming out. Like the dolphin would swim past these little bits of info, and honestly I had to watch it a second time because I just kind of caught all that stuff at the end. I'm like, wait, what am I missing there? Like that wasn't just things to avoid, it was telling me stuff that I need to know. So I thought that was really inventive to include all that in info in game for the trailer.
Dolphin Show probably in my top 3 of the show. It looks super smooth, way up my alley, the type of game it is. Nick, I don't think you've seen all these yet, but it looked electroplankton if it had like a electroplankton meets Star Sled, maybe.
I love that we end up comparing a lot of stuff to electroplankton.
Everything is WarioWare or electroplankton.
Those are the only 2 games we've ever seen.
We need more Peggle and Guitar Hero clones on the Playdate.
All right. While I smile and nod at those games I do not know, I'll talk about the next one in the Direct that caught my eye, which was Eventyrr. Eventyrr. Looks like the most ambitious pulp game I've ever seen. It's like a castle-y dungeon explorer, but with surprising graphics for a pulpy aesthetic. Did you guys catch this one?
I'm trying to find it. The name throws me. I'm looking at the list to try and figure out, okay, it says 16 minutes. I need to refresh it. The name doesn't say much to me. Oh, was that the one where it was just the dude with the geese? No, that's Game of Goose.
I don't think
Eventyrr.
so.
I don't remember anything about Eventyrr. I'm looking at the screenshots and it does not ring a bell.
All right.
Sorry.
Well, Pull it up when you have a moment. I thought it was pretty darn cool. I'm very bad about also including dev names. I should have looked those up too. But anyhow, hopefully the game name will get you there. Next one is Kurobi. This looked like Section Z mixed with anime to me. I don't know if you guys have played Section Z. It was a Capcom game for the NES. It was a game I had when I was a kid, and it's so flippin' difficult. It's basically like a super speedy horizontal cruiser game with tons of things flying around the screen, and this game reminded me of that a lot. Took me back to my childhood, made me wonder if I could ever have a chance of completing Kurobi because it looks so punishing, just like Section Z. Yeah, any feels about Kurobi, guys?
Side-scrolling shooter with a yo-yo. The weapon is a yo-yo. Yeah, looks
Yeah.
like a lot of fun. I definitely want to play this one.
Was that the one? Wait, no, that wasn't the one with the yo-yo, was it?
Yeah,
I
right.
thought it was Yo-Yozo, the one with the yo-yo.
Well, no, you shoot like a big metal ball, but you shoot it like a yo-yo, like it rams into everything and then comes back to you.
Okay.
It's Kurobi.
So it's
Okay.
Section Z mixed with Star Tropics. It sounds really exciting.
I likened this to another game when I was watching it in the chat, and I don't remember what I likened it to, but it does look very cool. Anything cyberpunky, I'm in.
All right. Well, while you're referencing your Discord notes, Don, I'll talk about Uncranked, which is a Playdate magazine by the one, the only Zanya Lasagna. Zanya's editing this, and it's going to be a zine on the Playdate. And she's taking pre-orders for physical copies too. So this is a Playdate magazine that can be in Playdate or a physical version if you want it. So cool.
I don't think it can be on the Playdate.
I think it can.
Can it? So I bought a copy, and she sent me like a PDF, a digital copy. And it's like a nice zine, like magazine, like you'd expect from her. Maybe it can be on the Playdate. I must have missed that.
Pretty sure in the direct it was talking about how it's available on both Playdate and pre-orders for physical copies. We can come back and we're gonna have a one of us effed up section next time. We'll see who it is.
Gosh, yeah.
In the meantime, contact Zanya, see how you could get in on this. And there's going to be all sorts of stuff like developer interviews, game reviews, third-party accessory overviews, Lua tutorials. Nick, if you need a Lua tutorial, it's going to be in here. And our good pal Pizza Fuel Dev is going to be doing that. You can send Playdate info if you want some stuff to go into the next Uncranked Playdate magazine to uncrankedpdzine@gmail.com. That's spelled funny. It's uncranked with no E, pdzine@gmail.com. Okay. So something to look out for. Zanya, nice work as always. You are prolific. I don't know how you keep up with all of it. Nice work. Next one, speaking of yo-yos from a game or two ago, Yo-Yozo is the next one that I thought looked really interesting. It looked like a yo-yo on a rubber band that you just sort of like swing around like a maniac and try to collect objects around the screen for high scores. But it does appear as though there's potential for like honing your skill with this game. And maybe you'll feel like less of a maniac once you do that. But the graphics evidently were created using only paths and lines. So no bitmaps. And the music is generated using only I don't know, Nick, you can help me out with this. Whatever junk is already inside the Playdate. So there's no MP3s. So I'm guessing this is just a super small file size for the game, but it looks like it runs crazy smooth. All right, put it in real terms, Nick.
I love how technical you are. This is incredible. But yeah, the Playdate has a pretty amazing synthesizer chip in it. So the music is
that's the junk I was talking about.
utilizing that synthesizer chip, yeah, that's the junk. And then the pads and lines. So is it similar to vector graphics? Like, do they expand or contract, or is it just point to point type
that was
illustrations?
my
Either way.
that was my understanding of it. I mean, it's a pixel-based screen, but
Mhm.
I guess the mathematics behind it sound vectory to me versus a bitmap.
They are.
It's like
They are.
circles and lines, I think.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
shape based. Okay.
So you can draw those effectively using the Playdate SDK, and it's pretty straightforward. That's a great use of it, though, because especially as the action intensifies on something like this, I think that would keep it pretty fluid, pretty smooth. So pretty neat.
Cool. Next game that caught my eye was called Initial Daydream, and this is another pulpy game, not as graphically impressive as Eventier. Nevertheless, it looked fun and humorous with quotes like "battle," and it got me interested from just the quotes that they were showcasing. So it looks like it's going to be fun. Actual release date is December 1st, 2023. So month and a half away. Nice. Don't have to wait too long for that one. After that was, man, I have the hardest time saying this. Robocleats, Robocleats, Robocti,
Roboticles?
Roboticles. I think you said it right.
I don't
Man, I
know.
have a real hard time with that one. Basically, it's robot athletes, but I can't say that all in one word.
Yeah, basically.
So this is a robot building and racing game, but it looks extraordinarily silly. It's basically like an exquisite corpse style of shoehorning together different robot parts. And if you're not familiar with that, basically, if you were to cut a body into three parts, shoulders and up for the head, middle of the body, and then down for the legs, or in the case of robots, wheels or whatever, you can sort of piece together these weird robots and race them. And it looked really inventive, really fun, really silly, but also like something you could probably hone your skill at. And yeah, I don't know when that's coming out, but caught my eye. Don, did you stick around the direct long enough to see that one?
Yeah, for sure. It looks like Disco Dodgeball Remix meets like track and field. And I'm very interested. He's actually, or the dev, I don't know if it's a he, but the dev is asking for playtesters all over the place right now.
Oh,
So
interesting.
I'm curious to hop on that and give it a go.
How does it
Report back,
compare
Don.
to Electroplankton? That's really the question.
It's a little more Peggle heavy,
A
but
little
it's
more,
close.
a little more WarioWare. All
Mhm.
right.
Okay.
Okay.
Is it like a custom robo, but with less strategy in the fighting and more like just a racing game? Like how is the racing portion of it?
It looks very
I'm
track
big
and
into
field.
robots and I like it. Okay.
It
Sounds great.
basically looks like a robot running along a track, but you can have like human legs or a wheel, or
This sounds
you're
amazing.
jumping over
So
hurdles, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I'm very excited by this.
All right, coming down the home stretch here. Next one tickled my fancy was Solar Descent. It's another pulpy dungeon crawler, but it's got some really cool looking fighting mechanics and an incredible looking hooded figure that uses Pulp's very limited 8x8 pixel grid to a wonderful effect. We get to the point where it sort of feels like we've seen all the potential iterations of 8x8 pulp characters, and when I saw this one I was like, wow, that really stands out, and to the point where I was like, is he using that, like there's a trick you can use to sort of stack a couple of blocks on top of each other, so you've got like 16x8 instead of 8x8, but it long story short, it looks great. So that's Solar Descent. And then looks like Island 2 is coming out for the Playdate here soon too, if I'm not mistaken. Is that correct?
It is coming out. Yeah, there's no release date attached, but it's on its way.
Okay. Yeah. Toss something in the direct anyway. I guess he's working on it.
Not
Right
soon
on.
enough.
Cool. Well, that's all I saw. Were there any highlights that I missed that really got you excited?
There's a couple. Outside Parties is coming from, I think, Adams Interactive. That's the one that took like a giant photograph and you zoom in closer and closer and closer, and it's very spooky. And you can adjust not only the zoom level but the brightness or the contrast to find hidden details in the picture.
Yeah.
And that looked really interesting. Very spooky. Spore Story. We got more information about the new, possibly axolotl game. It looked like looked a little Stardew Valley-ish. I know that's a generic kind of description, or Chia, or not Chia, Chicory. It reminded me of those kind of things, but you can change your head. There was a Playdate head character walking around. That looked really interesting. What were some of the other ones? Ausbruch, I'll mention. Remember that game, Nick? It was like Breakout, but in a dungeon, and we were breaking bricks, like photorealistic type bricks. And it was very glitchy. We played it this summer. Anyway, that has a full release now. I'll show you a picture later. You'll remember. But anyway, it got a full release during this whole thing. What were the other ones? A couple of these we're just going to talk about in a couple of minutes because they came out during the show. So very cool. Oh, the Playdate calendar. Did we mention that? Zanya Lasagna put together a calendar. There's like a physical Playdate calendar for 2024. And I ordered one. I think it was like $12 or something. It wasn't very expensive shipped. It was $12 shipped in the US. And Zanya said that it would be here, before the end of the year. So
that's awesome.
Looking forward to that. Yeah, it looked really cool. I tried to not look too much at the images because there's like pictures of the months. I like to be surprised.
Well, I have a spoiler for you, Don. Are you ready?
Well, I saw a spoiler. Yeah.
All right. I'll let everybody figure that out on their own. Anyway,
there was a couple more. There was a very long Gotta Bounce trailer that was very cool. That's the new game from, I can't think of his name, Mouflon Cloud, who did Stars of the Screen. Looking forward to playing that. Did you see the Ball und Panzer Golf, where it was like a golf game, but all 18 holes are on the screen at once?
Yes, it reminded me of one of those old electromechanical golf games. And that did get me excited. Why did I not write that down? Yeah, I'm so glad you mentioned that. Yeah.
It's the first color Playdate game too.
I mean, if you play it on the emulator,
on the SDK, it makes it in color. It's cute.
I heard that. I was like, all right, good try, I guess. But like, okay.
No,
anyway,
I think that's great. So Ryan, I don't know if you have experience with the Super Game Boy.
Yes.
Is an add-on for the Super Nintendo.
Yep.
And it allowed you to play your Game Boy games on the TV.
And select your own color scheme, right?
Big deal with it was that you could actually program your Game Boy game to have different functionality when played through the Super Game Boy. So this is kind of similar to that concept where it's like a different game if you're playing through the simulator versus when you're playing on device. I really like that concept.
You've turned me around on the subject. Now I'm all for it. Okay.
Okay.
Nick, are you familiar with Kai, KYE? It was like an old Windows game or something, old Microsoft game.
I'll have to look it up.
Yeah. I'll have to put a link in the show notes. I think I forgot to. But Gingerbeard Man ported it over. I tried playing it. I didn't understand what I was supposed to do, but it's free if you donate to a children's charity, which is kind of neat.
Good job, Gingerbeard Man.
Hat Trick got a trailer. That's one that's been kicking around for over a year now. It's like you play as Link's hat kind of from Zelda. And that looked really cute. The trailer was really cute. Didn't get a whole lot of gameplay footage or anything, but still looking forward to that. Rowboat Rally getting a little bit closer. There is a demo for that out right now. I hate tower defense games, but Satellite actually looked pretty cool. It's like the satellites going around the planet are your towers, or your defenses rather. And so as stuff is going around your planet, your satellites are attacking it. It looked like it really would work great on the Playdate. And so I will definitely try that out.
That's good.
Owlet's Embrace, we didn't show a whole lot, but look, it sounded cute. Bullfrog Playdate Deluxe. It was one of the last games. It looked like a Mr. Driller type game mixed with something else. I don't know. Mr. Driller meets Tetris Attack, maybe. I don't know, it looked pretty neat. So it was
Oh, that was the one where the frog sort of like
Mhm.
grabs the pieces with his tongue and pulls them over a little bit or something like that. Is that
Right.
right? Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That was looked kind of inventive. Yeah.
That looked really cool. So
Yeah.
I don't know when that's coming, but I will definitely play it. So a
Neat.
lot, we covered a lot. Thank you
Yeah,
so much, Ryan, for your thorough notes.
totally. And thank you for mentioning the rest of the games that I didn't. That was awesome.
There's even more
Uh,
that we didn't mention too. So
that's
definitely
unbelievable. Yeah,
watch the direct if you can.
totally worth it.
Amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thanks
Good
everybody
job,
for putting that
devs.
together.
Good
Yeah.
job, Gant, for making it happen again. And if you thought Gant was done, he's not. He's coming back with the next direct, January 2024. So, hey, devs, get your butts in gear over the holidays and make these trailers because come January, there's another one coming. So, I think that's it for the direct, but not it for the news and notes because Play Jam 4 is coming up November 10th through the 13th. Play Jam 4. We're going to have a link to it in the show notes for today's episode. Boy, howdy. If we didn't already have an embarrassment of riches, looks like we might have some more. And then our last bitty news and notes for the week is going to be the fact that we are making a little change here on the podcast. Are you ready to help our listeners to the change afoot? Nick, do you want to let everybody know about this?
Yeah. So Ryan can't seem to remember that it's called Pixel Panel.
I can't remember anything.
None of us can, I don't think.
And neither can Don, and also I can't. So we're changing the name of that section.
Thanks for
From
throwing
Pixel
me under the
Panel.
bus, though. I like that
Yeah,
part.
you're welcome. Yeah, gotta start somewhere. So we're changing the name of that section from Pixel Panel to Pick of the Week. So that was the original sort of title for that.
Because that's
But
what
we're
we
gonna
end up saying
We always
anyway.
call it, yeah,
every
pick of the
single
week
time.
anyway.
So we're keeping the same format though, where one of us will choose a game and then we will all play the same game and we will discuss it in the Discord. So if you have any feedback or any information that you would like to share, you're still welcome to do so. Nothing changes in that regard. We're just changing the name because none of us can say it correctly, no matter how big the font in our show notes is. So
Yes, we're
All right.
simplifying.
I
yes.
think that brings us to our bitty boop indie inventory. Don,
Yes.
take it away.
Indie inventory isn't changing right now, but we had a ton of games.
Just give us another week.
We actually cut it back, and there's still a ton of games. So we're gonna try and go somewhat quick. Dash Arena, $1 by Lubu. It's what I thought Zipper was going to be. You very quickly and rapidly rush towards things and kill them. The animation is super smooth and one of the best like title cards or dashboard cards in all of Playdate.
Boy,
Definitely worth
saying
$1.
something.
Yeah. From Zanya Lasagna, Solaris Arcana, The Eye of the Soothsayer, 366. It is like a little experience with boss battles and like a smaller adventure compared to the Soothsayer game that came out in the summer. So
Man,
yeah, some cool
Zanya
ideas there.
firing on all cylinders. That's amazing. I mean, putting out the multi-platform zine, putting together or helping to put together this Playdate bundle, coming out with Arcana, the Eye of the Soothsayer. I don't know how she does it all. It's amazing.
I won't
don't
spoil
either.
it. I won't spoil it, but there's something she does with the dance floor in this game, Solaris Arcana, that
There's
was really
dancing?
clever. There's a dance floor. Yeah, I guess you could dance. I thought it was really clever, so it's worth checking out just for that. Ryan,
Cool.
yes,
Ryan, small correction to earlier. I did look up the zine, and it makes no mention of being on device. However, hopefully Zanya's working on that because I think that's a great idea if it was in catalog or something and could be updated automatically. Anyway, that's like wildly ambitious, but and
Totally.
I believe
But
it's
if anyone could
digital
do
or
it.
physical only. So at least from what I read.
Okay. It was quite late when I rewatched the direct, so maybe I misread that. If so, my apologies for putting that on you, Zanya.
Yeah,
get to work.
Hope that doesn't add any pressure.
They've got enough going on, that's for
Seriously,
sure.
my goodness.
If you go to playorama.app, then you can watch the direct on your Playdate. That's an app that shows videos on your
Ooh,
Playdate. Yeah.
that's cool.
Yes.
Maybe
Oh, go ahead. You muted yourself, Ryan, or unplugged something.
for goodness sakes. Maybe that's what I was talking about. Did I mix up a couple things?
You-
I thought I had that
yeah.
mentioned, the Playorama.
No,
Uh,
we
no, that was the
breezed past
direct.
that one.
That was the direct that
Yeah,
was on Playdate, not
Yeah.
the zine.
Right.
yeah.
I'm gonna reach out to Zanya, see if I can not be wrong. All right,
Okay.
go
Thanks.
ahead.
Thanks for that. Yeah.
Next up is Mega Dystopia Micro Architect MDMA for $6 by another dev with a weird name. What is with you people? I don't know. I have not played it. It looks so good though. I have not had time, but man, this game looks awesome. I love the style. It's like a city builder, but more puzzle based, less
Yeah.
city builder based. I don't know. Looks really great though.
Guide is all.
Guy, okay. Thank you, Nick, for the assist. Next up is Cryptomania movie quotes by Ericus, and it looks a little bit like Jeopardy or Hangman, but with movie quotes. It's $5. Looks pretty polished. And then Heavy Trucking by Raccoon Formality. We need more dev names like that. That's perfect. They are trying to reach a stretch goal. They blew through it. They raised $200. They were trying to reach. The stretch goal keeps changing. Oh, maybe because they reached this goal, now it's a stretch goal. Never mind. Anyways, 420. It is like a trucking sim. If you're familiar with that Penn and Teller Desert Bus game, there's a version of that in here where there's an 8-hour bus drive through the Tucson to Vegas. Here, you can just ride on your Playdate. Yeah. Anyway, haven't tried it. Looks cool. Luna Landa by.
Is this exactly what it sounds like? Because this is very exciting to me, if so.
It looks a little bit like Gravity Express, but very cute. You're picking up bunnies and stuff. Similar controls to Lunar Lander, or similar gameplay, I guess, but not on a giant scale like Lunar Lander. You're in little caves and stuff on this. I don't think Lunar Lander, you weren't in caves, were you? You're on the surface
No,
mostly.
yeah, it was all on the surface. Okay.
Okay.
This is very cool. Just not what I was expecting when I opened the link. So this is by Legia Games. Legia?
No one knows.
Okay.
Next up is a game called Made and Wired by NNNN. It is Name Your Own Price. It's a port of a WarioWare game. It was originally released for the PECE. I don't know what any of this stuff is, but it definitely plays like a WarioWare game. I played it the other day and it was very cool, very tricky, and super polished and fun. So if you like WarioWare, I know we always comparing that, but it says right in the description, WarioWare. So it's WarioWare with a little space shooter attached. Right. Next up, it's by Humble Tune. This time I can't say the name of the game. Lude Build. This one was getting a whole bunch of buzz online. It's like a music visualizer for the Playdate. It looks really cool. A lot of DJs and stuff and musicians were tagging it that are not typically Playdate people. Were tagging it on Playdate or on Instagram the other day. But anyway,
looks like there's hope for a port of Super Hexagon. Looking at some of the visualizations here, that would be amazing.
That's Ryan would just kick our ass at that. They supported Super Hexagon.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Flinger from Tom White. I like that one. That's easy. It's a novel arcade game. You use the accelerometer to fling bullets at enemies while dodging your little ship around. So it's $1 if you're looking for a cheap fix on the Playdate this week. An even cheaper fix from Digicarrot is Super High School Danger Course. They took the Super High School or whatever the high school, I forget the name of it. The one that won the Play Jam 2 Play Jams ago. The track and field. They added like death-defying stunts to the track and field game they released earlier.
So very cool. I remember what was the Digicarrot game that we just reviewed a little bit ago? And then it was
Escapion.
Yes, Escapion. Thank you. And then I started looking into their back catalog, and that game looked really fun. I haven't had a chance to download it yet, but I'm excited that it sounds like they're expanding on it.
So this is Super High School Sports Day Crank-athlon, but with danger added. There we go.
Okay, more danger. Gotta love that.
And it's free, so give it a go.
Wow.
I don't know how their games are free. Ryan, I'm hoping you can talk about this next one. Crank and Watch Ball. You talked about their octopus game. Now they got Ball on here.
Fantastic. Let's take a look-see. Looks very authentic once again. Man, obviously there is a Game & Watch enthusiast out there who is a developer because they are making some very faithful reproductions of these games. They started with one of the best, in my opinion. Now they followed it up with the first Ball. That was the first Game & Watch game that came out from Nintendo. Man, my mind is spinning with possibilities of like, how might they replicate a multi-screen game, and could they do such a thing? I don't think it would be as faithfully reproduced because the aspect ratio of the Playdate screen is so ideal for replicating these single screen Game & Watch games, or widescreen games as they like to call them. But yeah, we'll see where it goes from here. But nice work, whoever this dev is. I'm not seeing any funny dev names.
Two Cells.
There we go.
And it looks like they've got a picture on. It's got a clock, so they have it on the Playdate stereo dock. You just want to use it as a clock.
That's great.
Pretty neat. And then last one is the one I was talking about earlier, Nick. Ausbruch by Klickoffen. It's like it's Breakout, but with photorealistic bricks and stuff. But it was really cute in a very early version, and now it's even cuter.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to playing this. It was very glitchy when we played like the very, very rough draft. And I'm glad to see they kept working on it, and I can't wait to give this a shot.
Yeah. Looks great.
Okay.
Really cool. All right. Done. We made it through another indie inventory, which means it's now time for the yoobity boop boop boop. Welcome back, Don. Pick of the week. This time, I'm steering the boat, and the game we're talking about is The Fall of Elena Temple. This is only $2 American and well worth the price. It's available right now. The full release just released like 5 days ago on October 5th. So this is an unusually timely pick of the week. When I picked it, the game was not fully released. There was a 10-level version, but they've since come out with the full 20-level version. Now, what the heck is this game all about? Well, let's talk about it. Essentially,
who's the dev, Ryan?
The dev is Grim Talon. Grim Talon. Thank you for asking. I am awful about that.
I would like to note that we were provided review codes for the full version of the game as well.
I bought it.
I did too.
I was provided a review code.
It's true. Thank you, Grim Talon. Thank you, Grim Talon, for reaching out and offering that to us. But hey, it sounds like Dawn and I beat you to the punch. So anyhow, I was going to review it even before you gave it to us for free, but that's very kind of you. So anyway, here we go. Yeah. This is a pulpy sort of aesthetic platformer puzzle game. You basically explore rooms and try to avoid pitfalls and collect coins to progress through to the next level. But the real kicker is that you can use the crank to undo your falls. So if you start on a particular platform, you fall off, you can only jump like one unit. Like if your player height is a unit, you can only jump up one unit. And if the platform is like 2 or 3 units above you, you cannot jump that high to get there. So if you fall off that platform, you have at some points in the game the ability to crank yourself back up a particular number of falls, which is a really interesting game mechanic because as you're going through these levels, as any good game should, it slowly teaches you these mechanics. It gets you involved in these games where you can, initially somewhat easily complete the levels, but then it ramps up in strategic difficulty. So there were a number of levels as I was getting to that were like, real brain teasers and had me really thinking about things for a while, like where else could I fall, or what other combination could I do to complete this, because I'd get to like, one coin left and there'd be no way to get there. And so you really got to think about where you're maneuvering your player to, how many falls you have to rewind, essentially. And man, I just really loved my time on this game, even though I paid $2 whole for it. Nick, what did you think about your review copy of this game?
So, it's a very busy time for me, unfortunately. So I didn't get to spend as much time with the Fall of the Lane Temple as I would have liked to. I only made it to stage 6. So I feel like that's pretty early in the game. I really enjoyed the rewind mechanic, and I thought it was very thoughtfully implemented. I did have a little bit of difficulty with some of the short falls to spikes. I think I saw some chatter about that in the Discord as well. Um, and that's just my poor playing ability, I think, coming to the fore. But I really liked having to plan out my route, and then I very much at first I thought that it was going to be extremely challenging to have to completely destroy a run that I had already gotten most of the way through, to have to take an alternate route if I made a mistake. But I found that it was actually very quick to go back through any of the stages, however many times it took me to actually wrap my brain around the puzzle that the game was presenting. So I found it to be very clever and fun, and I hope to be able to spend some more time with it.
Cool. I feel like you sold yourself short, Nick. You were saying you didn't have much time to play this. I was afraid you had 0 time to play this. I feel like you probably got a pretty good idea of the game playing through 6 levels. So I commend you, Nick.
Okay.
Thank you. Don, what was your thought?
I gotta say, this is probably my favorite, not pixel panel, indie pick of the week that we've had so far since we've been doing this new formula. This was like it was perfect. I mean, it was cheap, which is nice, but it was also like easy to understand, challenging, but you can play it in bite-sized attempts. It had a save system. It was charming, very legible. It wasn't twitchy. Like the only twitchy thing, kind of like Nick described, is that sometimes you have to rewind very fast for like 1 second. That's it.
Yeah.
It keeps adding new elements without being obnoxious about it, where you're trying to remember 15 different types of commands. It does never do that. It adds just enough without being without making it annoying. So I really enjoyed it, and it just happened that Ryan picked it at a good time where they added levels, but I ran out of time too. I wasn't here for the last episode, so I didn't have as much playdate time as I wanted. I got to level 11 though. So now there's 20 levels. Level 11 was really tricky. And Grim Talon in our Discord mentioned that he would give us tips on how to beat the stages and whatnot if we wanted them, but that he designed the game with wanting people to have those aha moments of how to break through. And I found most of the levels pretty easy if you're used to like the Captain Toad games and like that kind of thing, where you're trying to, if you're used to this type of puzzle, like I would say it's similar to a Captain Toad or even a Donut Dodo. I mean, Donut Dodo is way faster, but that type of game. So I was kind of used to the types of puzzles that it was looking for, but it did throw curveballs at me, which I appreciated. And I think it was like 9 or 10 where I knew it wasn't going to be as straightforward as it looked. And so I just started off like, okay, these two, I have 10 doors and 8 keys, or that kind of thing. So I gotta pick 2 doors to not touch.
Yeah.
And it made me smile. It was like, okay, this is cool. Like the developer obviously knows you're gonna, if you just run in, you're gonna waste your keys and you're gonna have to start over. And
Totally.
so
Yeah.
you have to plan. You can't brute force the levels at this point. And I thought that was really clever. And there were a couple aha moments besides that. I don't mean to say it like the whole thing was a breeze or anything, but it was also charming. Like it was fun to have to collect every coin. I normally am not that kind of player where you have to collect, where I go and collect every coin, but this made it fun without being irritating as well. There was never like one coin that was super annoying to get to. It was like, oh no, I just gotta plan to get over there. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. Great pick, Ryan. And I'm looking forward to picking away at it. I mean, I don't necessarily want to blast through the next 10 levels in one afternoon or anything, but I probably could if I really wanted to.
Yeah, and that's another nice thing about this game is that it's quite segmented. It's sort of episodic. You can spend 10 or 15 minutes with it to complete a more difficult level and then put it down for a little bit and come back and try that next level that you made your way to. But yeah, I just think the level design in this game is so exquisitely done. That you talked about that slow ramping up of difficulty, but then also never having to remember a bajillion game mechanics, like I thought was really handy. It's got some, fun, quirky little humor thrown in there too, some self-referential stuff, which, kept me smiling as I was puzzling. So yeah, it was, man, I had a great time, and I'm so glad you did too, Don. I feel like we're going to hear or see your quote from this episode on the Elena Temple page moving forward. Perfect. Don from Hello Podcast.
There you go.
Or whatever the heck we call this one. Hello Playdate Podcast. That's it, right?
Yeah, Hello Playdate Podcast. Welcome, Ryan.
I'll listen one of these days.
Shall we talk about the feedback that was on our Discord?
Yeah, we got a bunch. I was looking up Pizza Dev was probably one of the first that popped in there. One of the first to finish it, I guess. Gamma Goat finished the first 10 levels, and then I wonder if that's satisfying or not. Like you finish it, and then immediately after you finish, boom, twice as many levels. We should have quizzed them. Nick, do you want to read some of the feedback? Or are you able to? I've got some of it up here.
Okay.
Pizza Dev finished the game. Really appreciate the visual clarity. Often pulp games can seem overly visually cluttered, but not this one. Clean, simple, immediately discern. Levels were well thought out, challenging, which I loved. Negative side, I feel like the difficulty curve is way too steep. I've struggled after a few levels, and I feel like a few easier levels would have been appreciated. Also struggled with the rewind feature. It felt unresponsive. We should mention something that Gamma Goat discovered, and I think it's been fixed now, is that you have to crank counterclockwise, and if you crank clockwise, let's say 3 turns, the game remembers that, and you have to turn counterclockwise 3 turns to get back to 0 before turning again. And that was a bug basically that Gamma Goat discovered and let the dev know. So now I think you can turn either direction, right? As long as you do one full turn.
So the game still says counterclockwise in the opening hint that it gives.
I know the dev was real responsive to that, and I would imagine if it's not in the current port, then it will be soon. But I thought that was so cool of Gamma Goat to not only like note that there was a bug, but figure out precisely what that was. Like, I feel like that would have thrown me for a complete loop trying to figure out what was going on there. But yeah, he figured it out. Nice job, Gamma. Speaking of Gamma Goat, he's got some thoughts on the game as well, which goes something like this. The Fall of Elena Temple is a fun little puzzle game on 0.8, so that's prior to the full 20 level release. There's a good mix of rooms that keeps introducing new mechanics. There was enough there to feel like a full experience. There were a couple points that required more dexterity than I wanted. It was frustrating to play through the first half of the puzzle only to fail because of controller skill, not puzzle solving. That aside, I think the difficulty was just about perfect for me. More perfect descriptors here, Mr. Developer of Fall of Elena Temple. They were challenging enough that I didn't just plow through them all on my first try, and I had a sense of accomplishment when I finished. I enjoyed having one coin left and getting that aha moment when I realized my mistake. I think it was paced well to pick up and play, though through one or two levels, then pick it up again another day. Yep. Graphics were pretty clear. As with any of the Playdate games, finding my character when the room loads is the hardest part. I am looking forward to the full release. Thank you, Gamma Goat. And Grim Talon is Mr. Developer, who I could not remember the name of. So Grim Talon is in this Pixel Panel / Pick of the Week thread in our Discord channel. He's taken note of everything that's happening. I have not been able to try whether or not that clockwise to counterclockwise thing we described earlier is fixed or not, but man, I can only imagine so, and if not, soon.
So Dino or Dean Zero responded and said,
by the way,
they're really enjoying.
Yep. I'm sorry to interrupt you. I did confirm with Dean O, and it is Dean O. He said that he laughed super hard when I said that, but I swear that character looks like a 0 to me. Anyway, it's Dino. I got confirmation.
Makes sense. Said, I'm really enjoying the Pixel Panel title. It's a fantastic little puzzler. I haven't finished the game yet, but I pulled together some thoughts. I like the use of a static playfield for each level. Design is inventive. Value's been squeezed from every pixel of the limited screen estate. Without a timer driving the action, the entire playfield can be surveyed before making your first move, which is an enjoyable, slow-paced experience. Mechanics are introduced at a steady pace. The difficulty of the challenges increase at a faster clip. I thought the balance was surprisingly effective and enjoyed the steep incline. It didn't feel prohibitive. Rewinding is a fun mechanic which I found tough to master. My overzealous cranking mid-fall nearly always sent me back multiple steps. The position at which the crank triggers the action appears to shift, not quite firing on one complete turn. Locking the trigger to a fixed crank position may improve the interaction. It was a joyful experience, which is perfect for the Playdate. That's a third perfect. Potential tweaks to improve the use of the crank, but overall another wonderfully compact and engaging title. Thank you, Grim Talon, for investing your time and creativity into creating the game. Hopefully you find some value in the comments and feedback you received from everyone.
Yeah, such a cool community we've got on the Discord. I'm so thankful for our listeners here who are so responsive, articulate, smart, and like patient to figure out some of these things too. And
all the things we're not.
And it sounds like Grim Talon is appreciative too, because he comes in to say, thank you for the detailed feedback. I initially had the undo trigger at almost 360, but there were some complaints that rewinding was too hard. So I reduced the angle to 270, which made surviving those falls with spikes at the bottom easier. But the downside was that you could undo too many times. Like you said, if you're too generous with a crank. In the end, I think it's best to make the rewind a bit easier. As for most of the game, you do not need to hurry at all with a crank. Just rotate it at a steady pace until the undo happens. So that's Grim Talon, the developer of The Fall of Elena Temple, chiming in our Discord. He had some more stuff to say, but we don't need to read this whole thread, I don't think. But thank you to everyone for chiming in with your thoughts. Thank you to Grim Talon for chiming in with thoughts as well, and making the perfect game. Nice job, man.
We have one other bit of feedback from another contributor to the Discord. That's Orkin. And they said that room 11 was tough, and they're up to room 16, not stuck, just where they last stopped, and really enjoying the game. Getting new mechanics nearly every room is great and keeps things fresh. Difficulty curve maybe isn't perfect. Later rooms sometimes felt significantly easier than earlier rooms, but these things are hard to get right and opinions are going to vary. I do agree that rewinding can feel a little unresponsive. I almost always want the first rewind to be instant, and it of course never is unless you buffer the rewind beforehand by cranking it just before the trigger. But it hasn't caused me any big problems. The times I've needed a rewind before falling to my death have been relatively few, and are probably front-loaded in the earlier rooms. And then they responded yesterday and said, finished. It continues to throw new mechanics at you right up until the end, which is great. Really enjoyable and recommended. And Dino had a final bit of feedback, which is that I feel like when you solve a puzzle or two, you just need to keep on rolling while the cogs are turning, which I can understand. So
Yeah, I could see that. I like that there's no timer too. I wanted to mention that.
yeah.
I feel like did you guys ever play Bugs Bunny Crazy Castle on the
Yes.
Game Boy?
Mhm.
Yeah, it's similar as well, but I as a kid, I feel like that had a timer. Like I remember Bugs Bunny freezing if you didn't quite get through to the door quick enough, and I feel like this would kind of ruin the experience if it had a timer. Or maybe it would add another layer if there was like a timed mode. But I don't want that. I like a chill, no timer mode.
Yeah, I really enjoyed being able to be calm and thoughtful.
Not
Not needing to race a timer. Yeah, it was nice.
Yeah, very good.
As we said, perfect. Good job, Grim Talon.
Very good. And I did want to mention, I owned the Elena Temple game, so I played a little bit of the Xbox one. I have it on Switch too, but they're always like $1 or $2. And those games, Adventures of Elena Temple, is a little bit different because you can jump and the screens connect. So you'll just like do one little puzzle and then you move on to the next room. You just walk into the next room, you go back to previous rooms. Like the rooms are connected. So it's more like a dungeon. Not quite a Spelunky size deal, but much smaller. But yeah, definitely worth giving a look for bite-sized puzzle game. Or I guess puzzle platformer.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Don. Speaking of Don, hey, what's coming up next week?
Next week, we are going to do Realistic Fishing by Totally Under Control, or Toad. Let me pull up the link. Also, we have a couple codes. So it just hit catalog today, which, guys, we forgot to mention the catalog releases for today.
Oh my gosh. That's
and there was a big one. There was like, there's a bunch of big ones. So maybe we could blow through those real quick. Sorry that we're blowing through them, devs. We're lovingly massaging through them. But yeah, Realistic Fishing is really fun. Fishing game. You fish, you paddle over to the shop, you buy new gear, you go back out, you fish deeper, and then when the fish are up in the air, you spear them and you catch them. So we have we gave away codes on Instagram and Discord. We have 4 game codes. So the game is usually $8 on catalog and itch, but we have 4 itch codes. So if you're listening to this right now, send us an email, helloplaydatepodcast@gmail.com. I'll give a code to the first person, and then I'll randomly select 3 other listeners to receive a code. And you can play along with us. We'll talk about it next time.
Very cool. Can I win?
Ryan already has a code, allegedly. And yeah, thank you so much, Totally, for giving us codes, by the way.
For sure.
I had already bought one, so I gave Ryan my code. I wanted to make sure it worked. Yeah.
Thank you, Toad.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Congratulations on making it to catalog. And real quick, Scenic Route Software, you're gonna miss the bus. Came out
now
today.
Released not only on catalog but also on itch. So whatever platform you are choosing these days, go grab it. We've been talking about that one for a little bit. I'm glad it's finally out in the public. Can't wait to hear what everyone thinks about that. In addition to Realistic Fishing and You're Gonna Miss the Bus, let's run down the rest of these real quick. We've got Tau by Gareth Williams, Spooky with lots of O's in it, 11 games inside. Let's see, platform.
Yeah, that's a category, right?
That's a category. Yeah, those are spooky games.
Oh, is that right? Oopsies.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Platform 10 is a game though.
Yeah.
Good. I got that one right. Platform 10 by Gabe O'Reilly, Blocky Balloons by Brando, and Quantum Phantom Basketball.
We're good.
Were those from last week?
Yeah.
Those from last week? Whoopsies.
Blocky Balloons is the last one that came out today. Which I've never heard of. It looks interesting.
Cool. I'll leave the catalog game reading up to you next week.
No problem. I did add a high score channel to our Discord for You're Gonna Miss the Bus. So beat down those high scores. And there's a leaderboard in the game, but we want some smack talk on Discord.
Very cool.
Speaking of Discord, you can reach our Discord in the show notes. You can also reach our website, playdatepodcast.com, and email us. You can always email us, helloplaydatepodcast@gmail.com. Thank you so much for listening. Anything else we have to add, guys?
I would like to put just a quick shout for
yeah.
my next book. You can find it at onebiteatatimebook.com. That's onebiteatatimebook.com. I have been working so gosh darn hard on this, and I know you've heard it at the end of the past couple episodes, but it's coming so close to launching on November 1st. I usually bow out of the podcast for the month that I'm crowdfunding because it's so bonkers. I'm gonna do my best to be there this time. We'll see if I can hang in there, but regardless, please check it out, onebiteatatimebook.com. I would love to see you over there on November 1st.
And I released a new game between last episode and this episode. It's called Drained Bite Sized, and it uses the Drained playfield module that I manufacture. It is a speed running vampire slaying challenge, perfect for Halloween. So there's a YouTube video of the reveal stream, and then I took some games to a pinball show, and the public got to play them, and had some great feedback. So that was a lot of fun.
I'm so jealous. I want to play it.
That's what's kept me occupied for the past couple of weeks. But now pinball season is over, and as we all know, pinball can rest until the next Halloween, I guess, is when it comes out. But
none of those last things you said are true. It's still pinball season. It's always pinball season. Right. Go to drainedpinball.com. You'll find out all about it.
That's the place. Thanks, Ryan. All right, everybody. That's it for plug time. Thank you.
Thanks for tolerating us, Don.
No problem. All right. Thanks, guys, for catching a few.